you're broadcasting, you can't suddenly make it public. Really? Yeah, right? So I was like, fine, then I'll close the Hangout and I'll start a new one and make it public. And then it was like, no, we don't, you can't have a public live broadcast Hangout, which doesn't make any sense. But
yeah, you can, but you can.
You can, but it's funky.
But people are then going to start talking and stuff.
No, you can turn that off.
mute it.
Like I'm gonna,
at the media they do it, but I don't.
it's giving me a hard time, so I'm just gonna turn it off.
But it's recording, right?
Yeah, it's recording.
So I guess I should give it a minute or two.
Yeah, give it a second.
What time is it? It's 3:01.
Yeah,
I'd like to get going.
You don't like my analog clock?
Where is it? Oh God, I can't even see it. Great hobby.
All right, hold
So
on.
is this
tweaking.
No, hold on.
No, that's a video.
Hold on.
Let's see. Let's go to Fembot.
I have to update a URL real quick. Hold on, refresh the page.
Refresh race.
Now hit play. Now it's live. Right. So there you go.
Delay so that we can.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now it's
Grace, can I ask you a question?
she's tethered to the mic. She has to stand here, isn't she? But what if she would stand up there? Is that okay? Would she still get protected for the camera stuff? So she doesn't have to stand. Okay. As long as she's like over here, though.
You'd be talking to me when you're staring at it.
No. We were just saying, you don't have to. You project, so you don't have to stand right here. You don't have to stand right here at the mic. You just have to take off the sandwich right over here. Only because you're there. So he said, we're standing right here. They get picked up by that. No, not standing right here. You're unmuted. As long as you're standing here.
You're unruly. I just got teachers. They're calling me unruly. Okay, shall I? You just teachered me.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here on this very beautiful Friday afternoon. I'm Carol Stabile. I'm the director of the Center for the Study of Women in Society, one of the co-founders of the Fembot project, and I'm going to introduce our speaker and really quickly say a few thank yous to the people who made the event today and tomorrow's event possible. First of all, thank you to the Fembot project, to CSWS, to the UO Libraries, to the ASUO Women's Center, and the School of Journalism and Communication for supporting this project. Thank you very much, the amazing students who've worked on these two events. Chelsea Bullock, who can't be here today. Iris, will you raise your hand, Iris? Karen Esland, Karen in the back. Thank you, Karen. Bryce Peak, where's Bryce in the front? And our undergraduates, Rachel Baker, who's an intern, and Caitlin Harrington, who's handled our media outreach. Thank you, Caitlin. She's sitting back there. I also wanted to thank my incredible colleague in the School of Journalism and Communication, Tiffany Gallicano, whose enthusiasm and expertise have enhanced our event planning. So I'm here from the Center for the Study of Women in Society, which was founded nearly 40 years ago. Our mission is to generate, support, and disseminate research on the complexity of women's lives and the intersecting nature of gender identities and inequalities. Fembot began its life as a research interest group in CSWS in 2011, it was just a group of graduate students, faculty members, and librarians from around the University of Oregon who began work on a platform for collaboration among faculty, graduate students, media producers, artists, and librarians who are interested in research on gender, new media, and technology. From its launch in August 2011 to today, the collective's listserv network has grown to 415 scholars, artists, and activists from Australia, Canada, England, India, Taiwan, and Wales. And 70 of these are active participants and registered members at fembotcollective.org. We have a peer-reviewed journal, Ada, and it'll publish its second issue on feminist game studies this spring, and next fall we'll publish a third issue on feminist science fiction. Now, it was through Fembot that we connected with Sarah Sturch, who it's my pleasure to introduce today at the first of two events celebrating International Women's Day and Women's History Month. Sarah has been a leader in the drive to bring more women editors to Wikipedia. She first began editing Wikipedia in 2004, and correct me at any time if I'm wrong, Sarah, just shout at me.
I'll edit you.
You can edit me. And she became a Wikipedian in residence for the Smithsonian in 2011. More recently, the Wikimedia Foundation awarded Sarah a Wikimedia Community Fellowship to continue her work encouraging women's participation in Wikimedia projects. She's also an ADA Initiative advisor. And for those of you who don't know, the ADA Initiative is a nonprofit organization dedicated to increasing the participation and status of women in open technology and culture, which includes open source software, Wikipedia, and other open data and open social media. And it was because of Sarah that we also sent one of our PhD students to ADA Camp in Washington, D.C. last spring. Sarah has her master's in museum studies from George Washington University and her bachelor's in Native American studies from Indiana University in Bloomington. Her background is in curatorial practice focusing on fine art and history, and she served, as I said, as a Wikipedian in residence at the Smithsonian Institution Archives and the Archives of American Art. Among her other superpowers, Sarah has also worked as a makeup artist and a DJ. She's currently the U.S. Open Glam Coordinator for the Open Knowledge Foundation, the Wikipedian in residence at the World Digital Library. Sarah's commitment to the concept of open culture, free knowledge, and equity infuses all of her work. She credits learning that only 13% of Wikipedia editors are women with reinvigorating her feminist politics, and she neatly summarized the problem in a recent interview when she observed, quote, "It's not just that women aren't editing, but women's history and related subject matter is underrepresented in Wikipedia. For years, white men have been writing the history of the world, and that includes Wikipedia. The average editor is a white male. So I decided to make it a life mission to inspire women in the underrepresented of all races, genders, etc., to participate and to also improve content related to those people. So thank you so much, Sarah, for doing this work and inspiring us all to participate. And welcome to the University of Oregon.
Can you see me? She said I don't have to stand for the microphone. Can you hear me okay if I talk without a mic? Good. I'm quite good at projecting. My family's from New Jersey, so Carol almost made me cry there. I get really emotional because anyone who knows my background, college dropout originally, who never thought she'd have her master's, let alone would be traveling the world, being able to talk about these things I care so deeply about. So always hearing myself talked about in that manner makes me very emotional because I could only have imagined hearing myself in that kind of voice and tone from someone I respect so much. I never would have thought I'd experience these things. So enjoy it all. It's an amazing ride. So we're going to do some Wikipedia stuff. All right, are we ready? Who has a laptop today? Okay, now if you don't, you all have computers at home. So you're all going to make a promise to me. If you don't come tomorrow, you're all going to edit Wikipedia at some point in the next week, or I'm going to find you. And I'm going to make you edit Wikipedia. Somehow, I will fly back up to Eugene. And that's a threat. That's a promise, not a threat, they say. No, 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 just kidding. I'm not a violent person. So this is going to be a pretty crazy, chaotic run through Wikipedia. You're going to learn some stuff. You're going to learn some things that are going to irritate you, that are going to challenge you, that are going to frustrate you, and that are going to excite you about the entire experience of editing a collaborative encyclopedia. Who here has edited Wikipedia? Okay, a couple people, there's 3, 4, 5 people. Who here has thought about editing Wikipedia but never made the jump? That's why you're all here, and I'm very glad you guys are here. So I'm going to talk really briefly about why it's so critical and so important for, and let's see, I'm a Mac user, and this might get dirty and scary, so bear with me. I'm using a PC that is a vintage model provided by the University of Oregon's library. And we're grateful for your contribution. Thank you. The thing weighs like 50 pounds. It's amazing. Oh, there's Hugo. Hugo Chavez up there. Wikipedia. Here's the English version. It's the 5th most popular website in the world. And sometimes it varies depending on the day, usually 5th or 6th. We come in 240 different languages. So English being the most popular, German, Russian. We have Wikipedia, and you can see down here if I scroll down, all of this stuff here on the side. These are just some of the 240 languages in Wikipedia. You can edit in Navajo if you want. You can edit in Icelandic. You can edit in a million different languages in India because they've got so many amazing, beautiful languages. People are writing content there, more and more of it every day as people come online and experience Wikipedia. It's remarkable and overwhelming at times. So English Wikipedia is the most popular. Look at that. You can see lots and lots of numbers. We have over 4 million articles. You can see at the top somewhere up there. German has 1.5. You can see it goes to French, Dutch, Italian, Russian, Spanish, Polish, all the way down the line. Wari Wari is the 21st. Anyone can tell me where that is about Wikipediaing it. I will buy you a drink later. Or what language, where they speak it. So, quite diverse. And of course, most of these people also contribute to English Wikipedia. 4.1 articles, many that need help. And that's why we're all here today. And 4.1 is a lot of stuff. But imagine what's missing. Imagine some people who are sitting in this room who might even deserve their own Wikipedia articles. A lot of things need to be improved and added to Wikipedia. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to hit the button to move to the top of the screen, and I don't remember how to do that. There we go. So, women contributing to Wikipedia. Carol said 13%. It varies depending on who you talk to and what day it is. 9 to 13, sometimes I've heard as high as 20, 23%. Depends on the research study. The 9% number, which everyone loves to talk about because it's the most depressing, as if a gender gap isn't depressing enough. But the 9% number comes from the Wikimedia Foundation's editor survey. Wikimedia Foundation is the nonprofit that runs Wikipedia. It's based in San Francisco. There's people around the world who work for it and are not paid to edit Wikipedia, but they're paid to run the infrastructure behind Wikipedia, all the techie stuff. And they also provide grants and funding to our community members around the world, including myself, to help us do projects and engage the public to celebrate free knowledge and contribute to our mission. And every year they do an editor survey. So if you have a user name, a user account, which I'll show you, come on in, take a seat. You've got seats in the front. Make yourself at home. People who have Wikipedia accounts, which you'll learn how to make, it's quite simple. If you have a Wikipedia account, you'll get an editor survey pop-up, not pop-up, but a thing at the top of Wikipedia that says, hey, will you take this editor survey? We would like you to, sorry, I get distracted each time trying to use this thing. Hey, look, women's history stuff on the front page. They try to do it every single day during Women's History to celebrate it. If only we could get them doing it every single day. That would be the nice day, and we don't have to have an International Women's History Day, wouldn't it? I always wake up a little depressed on this day because we have to have a day to celebrate ourselves. When, as we all know, we should be doing this every single day. So, if I'm a little bittersweet about today, bear with me. I'm trying my best. Anyway, so we have a Wikipedia editor survey, and if you have an account, this thing comes up at the top and says, please take our survey, tell us about yourself and why you edit. Every year they do it, and people volunteer their gender. They say, I'm a male, female, or I'm another, and maybe you can fill it in. I don't remember. If you identify as something else, or as neither, etc. And 9% of people volunteer that they're women or female, identify as female, and that's where we get that number. And then other people do surveys and other things in academia, and that's why we get a variety. But regardless, it's depressing, and we're trying to change that. And I spent my past year in 2012, after I got my master's, engaging more women to contribute to our projects and developing programs online to build community and to build better help and assistance for people, not just women, but it just happens that women also really like the things that I've helped to build after doing a lot of research and talking to a lot of women around the world. And I'll be sharing a few resources with you that I've developed that are here to help everybody regardless of gender and background on Wikipedia, and a community that I developed called the WikiWomen. Well, I didn't create the community. I just created the space for the community to hang out together. That's a really great resource to meet other women and our allies who edit Wikipedia. Wikipedia was created by two guys, Larry Sanger. So when we joke about white guys editing Wikipedia, the average editor is a late 20s, early 30s, white male who's well-educated and child-free, single and child-free. So there's Larry. Larry isn't really involved in the community anymore. He's actually from Bellevue, Washington, so just up the way, stayed away. And Larry and then a guy named Jimmy Wales, who most people know. Jimmy's pretty famous. I'm sorry, Larry, but there's Jimmy. These two guys created Wikipedia. They originally started a project called Newpedia, N-U-P-E-D-I-A. And Newpedia aimed to be a resource where academics, you had to be a certified official academic to write on Newpedia. And it was basically trying to make a really fancy, cool encyclopedia that was editable by any academic anywhere involved in the community. That didn't quite work out, and then this whole Wikipedia thing developed, and we just celebrated our 12th birthday in January. So, you know, Wikipedia was created by two Anglo computer geeks with a lot of computer geek support, and a lot of those guys happen to be Anglo. And just to be blunt, I believe that that's deeply affected the way that Wikipedia has evolved as a community. It's critical for everybody to contribute their knowledge, but when a very specific demographic of people have been writing that knowledge, as they have been writing textbooks and contributing to many of the books we have here in this library, it's really critical that we start to change that. And in the world 2013, or in the year 2013, that we're still having to deal with this challenge of women having their history, even their voices heard, because Wikipedia is built on consensus and discussion. When you go to an article, and this is going to be, let's go to one that's not, let's go to one that we can stir up a few things. Pregnancy. Pregnancy, let's see here, if this thing searches. Oh, there she is, okay. So pregnancy, the majority of the people who edit this article, dare I say it, like let's say 90%, are men. And now, I tend to write articles about lesser known subjects, biographies about people, women mainly. I go through phases. I've written about winemakers recently. I've written about artists, feminist activists. Recently, I've been writing about Asian businesswomen, because Forbes just put out a new list of the 50 most influential Asian businesswomen. It just depends on what I stumble across, and then you get going, and you know, it's easy to spiral into the wormhole. And so those subjects are not as popular, but we really have to improve on them. But these big articles, pregnancy, pro-life, pro-choice, abortion, menstruation, anything you can think of about that's a part of being a woman, whether we like it all or not. You can see pregnancy for other animals. Pregnancy for other animals. See pregnancy mammals for the other animals. I don't want to pull it up here, but there's a lot of issues with things like that. Just simply saying other animals is really interesting. I mean, we are animals, but really? Mammal instead?
So when can we ask questions?
Not yet. Sorry. It's gonna happen. I'm just giving you some background. Okay, I'll shut up with this in a minute, and then we're gonna move on to a few tips on how to edit. Because if we start to talk about why women don't edit, blah 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 right now, we're not gonna get anything done. And I talk about it all the time, and we can talk about it at the end of the session. So please bear with me, unless you think it's absolutely critical. You know, then we can get through that. Because it's not about why right now; it's about getting it done. Right? We can sit around all day long and talk about why we don't edit Wikipedia, but that's not the point of this, is to get some shit done, and we're going to edit. All right? So pregnancy, the top pages on Wikipedia. So here's where we're starting to get into why Wikipedia is such a unique place to contribute. The pregnancy article. First, you'll notice this little lock in the corner. You'll see these on a lot of Wikipedia articles as you start to contribute content, especially about really important, big, huge, critical subjects like pregnancy or feminism. Whatever. If you want to write about a core subject, as we call it, the history of art could even have a lock on it. Justin Bieber's article because we're all concerned about Justin Bieber, has a lock on it. Because kids go on and write, I love Justin Bieber, or his music sucks, and we have to deal with the vandalism, we call it. So people vandalize the pregnancy article, or they make incorrect bad edits to it and make it bad quality. So we have people like me, I'm an administrator. Only about 10% of the administrators, you have to go through a voting process to become an administrator. Only about 10% of us are women, which is a whole other problem, because we need more leadership in Wikipedia. So even if you don't want to write articles or edit, like copy edit, all the things we need to clean up the articles with, we need leadership. We need administrators. We need people to help with policy, people to help with just making sure our community is a safe space. If you are into community organizing, we have a place for you in the community. Pregnancy, really intense. We actually had a 6-month-long argument on the top pages, which are all archived. So if you have a subject you love, you can click on that top page you see up there. Click on the top page, and you can see the history, down here's the archives, of all of the top pages. So from the very beginning, since these articles were created, you can see every single discussion that's ever taken place with anybody who's ever posted on the top page of the article. This is what makes Wikipedia such a unique thing. And look, we want to rename the article to Pregnancy Human. I mean, you'll see discussions about here trying to talk about diagnosis. This person's yelling to get physiological changes, something about copyright. We had a 6-month-long argument just simply about what image to display. People wanted to have a nude woman who was actually in a modeling, like she had makeup on. She was like the hottest pregnant lady you'd ever see, naked, doing her thing. And we had a huge fight, basically, the top page, full of sexist comments, male-dominated, that had them saying, no, we want a naked woman. And a bunch of people flipped out and basically said, why? This woman is look at her, she's normal, she's natural, she's beautiful, she's holding her stomach, she's not trying to look sexy, she's a pregnant woman. She's feeling whatever. And it won. Thank God, we won the argument. But without having people come get feisty and speak our minds, we're going to have naked women all over Wikipedia in a lot of context. So think of it in that way. You're not only helping to improve an encyclopedia, you're helping to also improve how the world and the community can get involved. Just like any space, we need to share our voices. And especially when a lot of us here probably have similar ideology, perhaps a feminist one, that's really important, because Wikipedia is all about neutrality. So bear with me, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty now about some of the policies. Yes, there's policies in Wikipedia, it's not anarchy. And it's things like this that make it what it is, and such a famous, important spot on the internet. When you write Wikipedia, you have to remain neutral. Now, you could probably find a few articles that aren't neutral. I'm sure there's some out there that have what we call weasel words. Oh, she's the most fabulous artist that ever lived. That's not neutral. You can't write that. You can't write, Carol is the greatest professor, and when she teaches, all of the students pay attention and love it and just glow. That is not what Wikipedia is about. It's not about boasting. It's not about celebrating and how much we love Carol. We've got to keep it boring, as we say. Keep it simple. So neutral point of view. There's a whole big article about it. You can read that if you really want to. Wikipedians are really good at getting lengthy and chatty. Yeah, there you go. You want to read that when you're a new editor on Wikipedia? No. So I'm giving it to you quick style, quick and dirty here. So remain neutral. Don't get romantic. Don't use lots of adjectives to describe how awesome something is or someone is. Like, for example, in pregnancy, you can't say it's an empowering experience that every woman should have. That's not neutral. We don't want to hear it. We want the facts. So that's one of the most important things about Wikipedia. But one of the issues with it is when we're all not contributing, when only 9 to 20% of the population in the world is contributing, we're not getting a neutral encyclopedia. Because what we want to cover, and I say we, everybody in this room, maybe we all have specific things about pregnancy that something's missing in that article. Midwifery. There's a midwifery article, but is it mentioned in pregnancy article? I don't know. But it just happens to be something that feminists usually care a lot about. Midwifery, as feminist mothers, from what I know. And so you have to think, okay, as a woman going in to write Wikipedia, or an ally going to write Wikipedia who thinks a lot about this, and when I say allies, I usually talk about, it's men, So, men who are good, active, awesome supporters of what we do. And we have to think, us contributing helps to make Wikipedia more neutral because we start to think about other things that need to be in articles that maybe the guys who've been writing it aren't thinking about. So you guys anybody want to ask a question about neutral point of view?
You said feminism. Feminism, as I understand it, is a very particular point of view. It is not neutral.
It's not necessarily, but neither is, feminism in theory is, at least my form of, we're not here to argue about what feminism is, but my theory, for me, as a feminist, I want to see equality. And I want to see an equal encyclopedia where everyone can contribute their knowledge.
I got it, but if everyone contributes their knowledge, I would submit that we've been looking at a male-centric version of knowledge, so there will be a kind of non-neutrality on account of that bias in there.
Absolutely. And we can't escape neutrality or bias, but we're suffering from a worse bias right now when we don't have more people who are diverse contributing to it. I'd rather deal with a feminist bias than the men's rights article. That's really scary and a frightening place to be if you're a woman or a feminist. So we're always going to have those arguments about feminism versus men's rights and who's in the right, who's in the wrong. We prefer people to use citations that are neutral. So Must Magazine versus the NRA, website for something. Those are two really biased, dramatically different types of sources and people who are going to be contributing to Wikipedia. But if we don't have everybody trying to work collaboratively, which is what the top page is for, we have people like me who go around, and when we have article subjects, like I'll show you an example here. This is one that makes me nervous. So men's rights, which is basically sort of the men's answer to feminism. I'm going to loosely, it's a men's human rights. It's helping, so it's basically men who feel discriminated against by, dare I say, the system, perhaps. I'm gonna get something on Reddit tonight. I know it. So, but I watched this page and I actually stopped watching it because I couldn't sleep at night. And we had such problems because the feminists. So there's a group of us on Wikipedia. We have a project for feminists where we all write about feminist stuff and we all have the same kind of ideology. And I'll show that to you as a resource later if you're into that. This article is on article probation. I don't know if you can see that thing in the middle there. Article probation, because people get so pissed when they're editing it. The feminists like me get really frustrated because certain things are celebrating how awesome men's rights are. And the men's rights guys legitimately get really mad because the feminists are there trying to make it more feminist, I guess you could say. Or dare I even say, talk about how bad men's rights concepts are, and vice versa. They want to talk about how bad feminism is. We want to talk about how much men's rights suck. So that's where we get into these problems about where do we draw the line of neutrality. We're never going to fix it. We're feminists. Well, I am. But if we can try to all contribute more content about these subjects and work together on the top pages, and we did. The article's been a little more quiet. Well, a little more quiet. You can see edit warring. Why is the women's rights article but no equivalent to the men's rights? Male genital mutilation. These are serious subjects where people get really frustrated and pissed. And if we don't have all kinds of people contributing to it, whether you're a feminist, you're in the middle, or you're extreme with male rights, both sides of it, we don't have a neutral encyclopedia. And it's hard. But tomorrow we won't be editing about really extreme subjects unless somebody really wants to. And I'm going to move on in a minute after. Can she ask a question behind you? You yes, unless you want to.
I want to.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just want to make, because we could go on about this.
This is a quick
Yeah, you're
question.
fine.
Is this going to be like technical writing, for example? Like I might write a research paper for my computer science class or something like that. So like the citation.
Yeah, usually if you want to write a good Wikipedia article, you got some sources.
Yeah, but is that the tone that you're looking for?
I guess, yeah, kind of, yeah. It's that boring. So she asked if I have to repeat the questions here. So if Wikipedia articles have to be written in more of a, how did you describe it?
It's like the tone you use when you're writing a research paper.
Yeah, research paper tone, yes. One of the things we do with Wikipedia is work with universities, and we work with professors, like Carol, to get their students to write Wikipedia articles, because it teaches them how to be a good researcher, how to write neutrally, and how to write in sort of this really dry, I'm just reporting the facts kind of manner. So yeah, if you've written a research paper in this room, you're going to be pretty good at writing Wikipedia. And how many of you have written research papers? That's what I thought. So that's why this is prime real estate, I call it, right here. So neutral point of view. Okay, we'll never reach the idealist concept of the neutral point of view. But if everybody, regardless of your political beliefs, aren't contributing to it, Republicans, Democrats, conservatives, blah blahs, feminists, masculinists, if not everybody is contributing, then we don't have a neutral encyclopedia, whether we like the subject or not. Got it? Good. So the next thing we're going to talk about, as briefly as I can, is conflict of interest. Oh, this is my favorite. One of my favorites. So these are the three big policies we're going to do. All right, neutrality, conflict of interest, and then the second one is going to be notability. So this is number 2 on our list of the 3 most important things you have to know when you edit Wikipedia. So conflict of interest, here's another really long, boring page. All of these are going to have these things called nutshells here in the middle. So if you don't want to read all this, you can just read that little nutshell. Do not edit Wikipedia to promote your own interests or those of other individuals or organizations, including your employers. Do not write about these things unless you are certain that a neutral editor would agree that your edits improve Wikipedia. So don't write about the University of Oregon if you work for them. Don't write about Carol if you're her student. Don't write about me if we've hung out and had some drinks. In theory, you're not supposed to write about that. Because yeah, I have a Wikipedia article, and that's really weird. But you're not supposed to edit about things and people you know really well. Because science is proven, and research is proven, that's really, really hard to write neutrally about stuff you know really well. Your friends, your family, your boyfriends, your girlfriends, your fans. The first article I ever wrote on Wikipedia was about a guy who I was dating. This is a million years ago. I mean, how stupid is that, right? We broke up like 2 weeks later, just when his article got deleted. Kind of funny, right? So, life imitates art, and life imitates Wikipedia. But I wrote an article about how awesome his band is. The guy won an Emmy. Come on, he's kind of famous. And I wrote it so romantically that, of course, it got deleted. Even though he does deserve his own article, because he's kind of notable, it got deleted because it was not neutral, and it was really obvious that I liked him. So try to avoid writing about the people you work for, the people you date, your husbands, your wives, your dead relatives, your whatevers. Try to avoid it if you can. If you see a friend who has a Wikipedia article and you want to help improve it, try to do it as neutrally as you can. Tough, but try your best. And when you make a username, which we're going to talk about, which won't take very long, don't make a username associated with your organization, your school, your company, whatever, your band, and then go edit articles about that subject. So don't create a user account called the University of Oregon and then go edit articles about the University of Oregon, because you'll get blocked. They'll make your account non-usable, and you'll be in trouble. And you'll have to go make another account. So when you make a username, keep it to something, it's an avatar. You can use your real name like I do, or you can use something else. Avoid conflict of interest. Yeah.
When I was looking at this a few years ago, this one and the NOAA Regional Research Meeting, to me, it kind of adds up to, we don't want any additional information. All we want is stuff that's been published in a book or by somebody who didn't know anything about it. And that seems to me just completely opposite of the whole project of increasing human knowledge. I'm the one, say I wanted to write an article about Mother Kelly's books or the feminist bookstore movement, which I was very involved in for much of my life.
Yeah.
Who else is going to write about that? Who else knows anything about that?
And that's one of the biggest challenges. So as somebody, she's asking as somebody, or stating, as someone who went through the feminist book movement and bookstore movement, you're the ultimate authority. You know who went in and out of those doors. You know who was published. You have the stories to tell. And I bet you've got some awesome stories about some of these people. So why isn't she the ultimate authority, and why can't she go on Wikipedia and just write these articles about these people? That's one of the curses about Wikipedia. And that's where we get into, well, conflict of interest. Okay, you know, that has to do with bias, basically. But
Well, then somebody else could come along that knows something about it and
exactly.
add to it.
But that's where we get into this whole no original research, which is okay. Let's make it number 3 now. So
Doesn't make any sense at all.
I know, but unfortunately that's the way Wikipedia works, and it's been around for 12 years, and we can't change this. So this is one of the ones that academics hate the most. And I get it. I'm an academic in some regard. I've written my thesis, and I've written the article about the subject of my thesis, and I have an ownership issue with it. And I have had to realize that all of the theory and the research I put into my thesis, I can't publish in my article about the artist Judy Chicago. All my theory doesn't matter because no one else has written about my theory and my work. It hasn't been published. I'll get to your question in just a second. It hasn't been published anywhere. I can't write about my own research, obviously, conflict of interest. No original research basically means a couple things. The subject has to be written about or covered, which gets into notability guidelines, in reliable sources. So if you want to write about the feminist bookstore movement, you're going to have to find sources that's been written in. So publications, books, journals, and not journals like at home, diaries, but scholarly journals. And it has to be published somewhere. New York Times articles, whatever. The local newspapers here. All of these books in here, you know, reliable sources. Even autobiographies about Judy Chicago. Even though that's not a reliable source because it's coming straight from her mouth, if you use it selectively, you can publish it. No original research is basically you can't use your thesis, you can't use your blog, you can't use your papers you've written yourself, you can't use your memory, you can't use your knowledge of just experiencing something, you can't use your diary, you can't, all those experiences we've had don't matter on Wikipedia. Unless maybe you want to write about cooking, and all those cooking articles suck because there's no reliable sources. And this is a curse. We can't also use oral histories in theory, which for feminism and feminist subjects is like the gold mine, right? Because there's so much amazing oral history out there. I could probably sit and record you for hours on end and then put it on my website and say, all this needs to go on Wikipedia. You have to use it very selectively. And that's a whole other presentation about selective use of original research. I don't have any way to defend this. I think it's very frustrating, but it is considered one of the most important policies on Wikipedia because it basically lends itself to verifiability. Anyone can say anything about their experience, but is it true? That's why you can't use my website to write an article about me. Because I can say I got my PhD, I don't have a PhD, but people lie. And sadly, it's affected Wikipedia, where we've got sued because of lies and original research and stories being posted about who did so-and-so sleep with, whether it's true or not. People get in trouble. So we've basically had to say we can't have original research because you never know what you can verify. And I hate to say it, because I've got the best stories about punk rock bands, and I can't put them on Wikipedia until someone publishes a book about it. You had a question?
I was just wondering, with this whole issue, I work in a chemistry laboratory on campus, and I haven't published anything, but a lot of people in our laboratory have.
Yeah.
And we deal with a very specific type of foreign action molecule. So very few labs actually do chemistry. If I wanted to, for example, contribute to an article related to that type of molecule, and I cited the papers that other laboratories have published in, for example, the American Chemical Society publication. Would that be appropriate if I cited other laboratories, or could I cite publications that we've done, but not from anyone, but not articles that I've been part of?
Yeah. So can he?
Where's that line?
Can you? Where do you cross the line of utilizing articles related to your department, maybe, or your organization, or let's say university in general, as university people here, versus I can obviously you can obviously use other people's stuff, other people's papers, other people's publications, JSTOR, all that kind of stuff. Anything you find on there you can use. to cite article. I just pulled up the general molecule article, but we know there's many more than that, than just the general one. We even have a whole project about Wiki Project Chemistry, the people who write about chemistry only on Wikipedia. You can use the University of Oregon stuff, sure. If your colleague published a paper and you want to write about the work that she did about molecules, go for it. I mean, absolutely, go for it. You just have to write it in a neutral tone of voice and make sure you cite it. Like, here's some references. All of this stuff comes from chemistry books. There's some journal entry. It looks like some journals there. Yeah, you can do that. But if you have your own journal, I would avoid it. The best thing you can do if you want to improve an article about something you care deeply about, that you've written about, is to go post on the top page of that article and request a change. I'm going to show you a really egotistical thing. I'm going to show you my Wikipedia article. Now, I didn't write this. Somebody wrote it about me. Yeah, weird. So as a Wikipedian, having a Wikipedia article about yourself is very strange. It's even locked because a couple of weeks ago people were vandalizing it, which is really strange. But there were some errors in it. So being the person who knows the most about myself and not being allowed to edit my own Wikipedia article, which is just replace that with the subject that you write about. I write about myself, you know, whatever. I had to go in here and say, here's what I do. Here's all the issues. I don't do this. Here's who I work for. No, actually, that's incorrect. I didn't speak there. I wasn't a teenager when I started working at that department store. Somehow these people found the department store I worked at when I was 21. I was in my early 20s. I have never spoken in Sweden, but I spoke in Finland once. I basically went on the top page and left a bunch of comments saying, this is all wrong. And somebody went through and fixed all of my article.
What's top page again?
The top page you can find when you go to any Wikipedia article. I'm going to go back here to my arrogant moment here. And you see this button right here at the top?
Wow.
That little tiny, I wish I had like a pointer thing, but so you see the globe, and then you have the article, and then you have talk. That's where all the action takes place. So if you've got a subject you care a lot about, go on the talk page, or you're in a band, or you're involved with a collective, they have an article, go on the talk page, and say, this is all wrong, here's the citations for it, or there aren't any, you guys screwed up, fix it. And someone will come along and fix it. Or you can ping me. You can email me and I'll help you out. Does that help a little bit, maybe? You can kind of you can use whatever you want, just try to remain neutral. The last policy we're going to talk about, and then I'll stop, then we're going to get into the nitty gritty and I'll stop talking about policy. Even though this is really critical. Yeah?
How can they prove that you went to Finland and not Sweden?
There's citations about it. They just misread there's actually, my entire article is sourced completely, which makes it a really reliable source for me, in theory. So there actually is a citation saying somewhere.
So they have to find a place, so they can't say that you went anywhere to speak unless they can find it printed.
Yeah, I could lie and say I've traveled every country in the EU and spoken on my website, even though I'm not lying. I didn't, and I haven't. But you can, and they have to, if you want to have a good, reliable source, one reason professors hate Wikipedia is because it's terribly sourced, right? You go on there, you look at an article, and it's just a bunch of unsourced, original research by people who know lots of stuff, and then professors don't trust it. So the way you make Wikipedia respected and reliable, where you can send your students when they want to do their first bit of research, because they all do it, and so do most of you if you're professors, I'm sure. Research has shown that you go to this place. The references is where you're going to find all the nitty-gritty, where they're going to go and they're going to cite it in their papers.
Okay, so in other words, you don't exist unless you've been published.
Yeah.
Unless somebody's published something about you.
2 years ago, I wouldn't have my Wikipedia article.
Is it a book or a website?
It can be anything so it depends. The only reason that I have my own Wikipedia article is because I've been in the media a lot. You know, I've been interviewed and stuff. So, and those are reliable sources. So I've been interviewing the Huffington Post or Slate.com, local newspapers. They consider that notability guidelines, which is a perfect segue after you ask me a question.
This one's quick.
Yeah.
If you've gone on the top page, and those are more accurate than what's on the top page, there's a process by which the truth gets known or published?
In theory, yeah. People watch articles. So, and I'll show you guys the watching process. It's very simple. When you edit an article, or you have an article you specifically like, you can add it to your watch list. And you can watch every single change that takes place. So if you're really into feminism in Chile, you can watch the Feminism in Chile article, and every time something changes, you can see it, and you can watch it. Someone writes on your top page, you can see that. I'll show you guys that. Eventually someone will come along and change it. You know, so it might take some time, but it'll happen. The final policy, and then I'm going to show you guys how to make an account, is notability. Not every single thing on earth deserves its own Wikipedia article. This is where we kind of get into that you don't exist until you're published kind of thing. Isn't that true in academia, though? You don't really exist until you're published? It's really strange how it works. Notability, basically, Wikipedia is all about notable subjects. So my grandmother, May Betts, was a beautiful, amazing woman. Philanthropist, delightful, fabulous dresser, and made a remarkable cheesecake. No matter how much I loved my grandma, God rest her soul, no matter how much I love my grandma, she does not merit a Wikipedia article. She's not important enough. My grandma, May Betts, is not a notable figure. Only in my life is she a notable figure. And that's frustrating, because I want everyone to know how awesome my grandma was, but I can't, because she's not important enough to go on Wikipedia. So there's my grandma. Okay, so she's down here, she's not notable enough, she doesn't matter on Wikipedia. We get into other subjects. Music. You know someone who's an awesome folk singer here in Eugene. She's put out a bunch of records locally. She's awesome. She plays the local coffee shop every Friday night. You love her. Is she notable enough? Has she had a record on a major label? No. Okay, that's one strike. Has she been covered numerous times by many different newspapers in Eugene? And Oregon, anywhere in Oregon? Yeah, she has. And people really like her. And it's not just a review or a little announcement on when her concert is. These are interviews. Even though her little indie records are only bought by 100 people in Eugene, she's got a following, like the Grateful Dead, you know, who put out all these underground records and became huge and popular. People love her. She plays big venues. She's notable. A subject, feminism, obviously notable. How many books have been published about feminism? A million. Arithmetic, we're in the arithmetic section here. If it's been published about in multiple sources that are reliable and neutral, so not just a bunch of local blogs about cool folk music, if it's been written about in lots and lots of sources, multiple, and that could mean 4, not 100, and it's an established publication, online or offline, it merits inclusion on Wikipedia. And this is one of the biggest challenges we have when it comes to women's subjects, specifically biographies. Because if you write something about someone who's not considered notable, and if you, by a Wikipedian, any Wikipedian who comes along to your article, when you've just written it, and says, ooh, that folk singer, I don't know who she is. I don't recognize any of these publications. I don't like folk music. I'm going to nominate it for deletion. Because I hate hippie stuff. You know, whatever, it could be something, I'm not speaking personally. I'm just, you know, people use these bias to nominate articles for deletion. So when I've written articles about women scientists from the 1800s, where there's only like 2 papers written about them, and I've had to go through hell to find those papers, and within minutes it gets nominated for deletion, and then I have to call in the troops, all of you guys, to help me find that one last paper that's at the University of Oregon that shows that she saved the orange crop from Florida. This is a real person. This woman basically found the microism thingy-majiggy that was growing on these plants and on oranges in Florida, and the entire crop was going to be destroyed. She discovered it. We had to find that last paper, and we did, and her article was saved from deletion. And this was nerve-wracking. It was written about online, crazy. It was, I can't remember her name right now, which is terrible, but I've written 400 articles, so I can forget them sometimes, which is bad. But this is real stories and stuff that happens. So when you have a group of people, like we have here today, who can work together to edit articles, and you know where to find those sources, and even though these policies are annoying, the fact that you know them now, or you know the general idea, it's your ammo. So you know, just like we've been having to fight for decades to get our voices heard, you now know when you go on Wikipedia and you want to add a new article the subject's going to have to be written about in good sources. So articles, newspapers, magazines, for example, online or offline. Your sources can be books. They don't have to be on the internet. They can be the books you have at home. She has to be notable enough with the books and the publications, written in a boring tone of voice, we'll say, an academic paper, and no original research. You can't just throw out a bunch of cool memories you have of the subject. You can leave them on the top page if you want, and they'll stay there forever, and maybe potentially be added to the article someday with your biography that comes out. So does that help a little bit, maybe? I know it's overwhelming, but I'll be here all day, today, tomorrow, to help you guys work through this stuff. Do we have any questions about boring policy?
Yes. In terms of, like, I was trying to wrap my brain before this about women computer scientists, because there aren't necessarily that many articles right now about women. How do you qualify? Like, so for publication, do they have to be from the news media, or can they be from, like, academic papers that they have written and published in major conferences?
Here's a good resource. So what do you consider a reliable source?
Like
in Wikipedia. That's what you're kind of asking me, summing it up. So, to write about a woman scientist or computer scientist, what would be a trusted source that would merit her inclusion in Wikipedia?
Yeah, like I was thinking, like the Computer and Communications, an article in the Computer and Communications Security Conference might actually, that she's published or something like that. Is that considered like?
Well, just because the subject has published, if I've written 10 papers and they've all been published, that doesn't make me important enough to be in Wikipedia.
Okay,
it's all about who writes about you.
Okay, so that's
it's a big
about them.
Popularity contest. I know, don't we all hate that shit? Some of us suffered through that in high school and it didn't go well. So we're trying to fight it right now on Wikipedia. I'm not bitter or anything, Look at me now. No. But yeah, so basically other people have to write about you. So she could write 10 papers and speak at 20 conferences, but if other people aren't writing about her work, unless she has written the most epic paper that has changed the face of society and people are going to be covering it, she's not on Wikipedia yet. Yeah?
I just want to make sure I understand the subtle difference. So in that group, for example, I think what you're getting at is that it would be the work that she's created that might be cited in other sources or might be talked about or might be in articles. But the fact that she's created these articles doesn't necessarily, or these publications, doesn't necessarily mean that she herself should get an article. The focus would be on maybe her work.
Yeah.
Would be on her.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So can you focus on the work she's done, or do you want to write an article about her? So you like this woman's work, she's done this awesome stuff about blah, blah, computer science subject X. Okay, not everybody is citing her work, maybe, yet, because maybe she's only 25 and she's doing awesome, but she's not there yet. She's got her PhD, she's publishing, she's speaking at conferences, she's got some good papers out there. And this could be, I guess, yourselves, in theory, but you've got a colleague, you respect her work, you know she's written this great paper about X subject. Sure, if you have a reliable source, which her paper should be, and it's been published in X journal, or published by X conference, you can put that in the article about that subject. And she might not get her own Wikipedia article, but you know what, I guarantee she'd rather have her work cited in Wikipedia than have her own Wikipedia article at this point. I mean, really, honestly, I wish I wrote papers and had them cited in Wikipedia articles rather than have my own Wikipedia article. And I'm just speaking for myself. I don't have academic papers. So I just have to write Wikipedia instead. And that's a really great question. And if she has been published and her work's been cited by a million other people and is considered really important, yeah, you can write a Wikipedia article about her. Does that clarify? Cool. Yeah.
Can you cite a Wikipedia page?
No. Wikipedia, yeah, can you cite a Wikipedia page? Professors love to hear that question asked. No, you cannot. You cannot. Wikipedia is not considered a reliable source. Because anyone can edit it and screw it up. Or put their stories in there or do whatever. So, no, you cannot. And not even in Wikipedia. So, you're supposed to cite the sources in the articles. So.
But of course,
you can link to it. Yeah, Wiki, you can link to other, yeah, I mean, hyperlinks So links to other Wikipedia articles on Wikipedia, that's like part of the culture. You know, we call it a wormhole. So you go to an article, and then you go, oh, she lived in that town. Oh, click, oh. And then an hour later, you know everything about the Soviet Revolution, and you're like, I was just reading about peanut butter. That's what Wikipedia makes Wikipedia so awesome, right? And you can win bets at bars, I say. I'll look it up on Wikipedia. I know the answer. So the last thing, this is something really good to write down, identifying reliable sources. Because while we think we know what reliable sources are, Wikipedians are the ultimate reliable source on what they think reliable sources are. So you can go down here, and blah, blah, blah. There's all kinds of stuff. This whole thing kind of goes through, and it's really lots of words and very lengthy. But basically, here's a whole thing about scholarship. So the stuff you guys might care a lot about, journals that are not peer-reviewed by the wider academic community should not be considered reliable. That's down here, except to show the views of the groups represented by those journals. So, a good example, Men's Rights Journal. It's not considered an academic source because it's not peer-reviewed, because it's like a zine. Anyone can submit something to it. So if it's not peer-reviewed, it's not reliable. A monograph, a book, a research paper that's been vetted by the scholarly community is regarded as reliable. So this is a really good web page if you want to spend some time.
So is there a feminist peer review of things?
Like a
doctor's peer review, a lawyer's peer review, feminist theorists peer review for feminists.
I don't know is there a feminist peer review like on Wikipedia or in general?
On Wikipedia.
Well, we don't necessarily have. Everyone's a peer reviewer on Wikipedia, I guess you could say, but we don't really have. We have projects where you can ask for help about certain subjects, and people will come and look at your article, but we don't have peer review per se. You can go through a process to get your article considered a featured article. So this article right here is considered a featured article, and it went through a general peer review process. If you want to go through one of the most painful experiences of your life, you think it's bad to get into a journal, have a Wikipedian criticize your article, and then you have to go through and edit every single itsy-bitsy detail of it to make sure it's reliable and trustworthy. 4 million articles, 4 million plus, only about 1% are considered featured articles, the best on Wikipedia. And they're the ones that rotate in and out here. So in this article, you'll see there's a tiny little star up there. That's a featured article. Your students could read this article about the SR West Country and Battle of Britain classes, which is a train, and you can feel pretty confident that they're going to get a really great article and trust the work that they do from it. But we don't really have a specific peer review for subjects aside from our wiki projects. And if you're into feminism, this is the place for you. So you can type these addresses into the search box here, and you pull up Wiki Project Feminism, which was co-founded by some of my friends. Oh, look, there's the men's rights movement. It's down here. You can see we have a thing that tracks the hottest articles related to feminism. So women and government in Australia, men's rights movement, sexism, Mother's Day, and Adam and Eve. And that changes day to day. And so you can always see what the hot articles are, where there's lots of action. You can see down here what we call article alerts. Now every project is going to have these, every single subject. You go to a Wikipedia page, and you'll see a list of projects that are associated with it. So women's history, feminism. If you're into art, we've got art. Trains, you're into trains. This tells you the article alerts. So articles that have been nominated for deletion, binders full of women. And I actually nominated to keep it because it's got so many reliable sources. It's a notable subject, sadly. But I didn't reply. I went, and I have binders full of women who need Wikipedia articles if anybody wants to help. And no one thought it was very funny. Yeah, obviously, the feminist humor, la la la. Rape and pregnancy controversies in the United States is undergoing a peer review right now to be considered one of the finest articles on Wikipedia. Good articles, which are one step under. That's 2% of all Wikipedia articles. And that's still a painful process, but well worth it to experience. Feminist Improvising Group is going through a good article peer review right now. That's a new one for me. Rape Culture is going through a request for comment. So when I mentioned pregnancy and said, let's all go on the top page and talk about what image we want to have, Rape Culture right now is going through a discussion on the top page about the entire article in general, basically, and what it should be focusing on and what should be focused in it. And I guarantee you 95% of the people writing about that on the top page are people who probably have a very different interest and experience with the subject. And are men. Peer reviews, binders full of women, and some other things, something about Madonna. Sorry, Madonna. And then you can see there's other projects. We have an LGBT project, Women in Psychology, Human Rights, Women's History, and one I co-founded about women scientists. So we write about women scientists. So that's Wiki Project Feminism, and I hang out there. We have a member list, all kinds of stuff, so you can add yourself to it, and I'll show you how to do that if you want to know. Here's our top page. Look at all that action. Here we talk about everything related to feminism. We ask for support about projects, female chauvinism. I mean, it's amazing. Post-colonial feminism, sex segregation, motherhood penalty. If it's about feminism and related to us, it's going to be on there, or feminism and equality. Here's someone who wants a peer review of their article about gender equality in Honduras. It's a student, actually, whose professor said, you guys are going to write about feminist subjects, and here's your list. And these students are going in there and writing really awesome articles and then asking us for peer review. So even if you don't want to edit, you can peer review the hell out of Wikipedia, and people are going to love it. Because Wikipedia loves constructive criticism. Okay, any final questions? Anybody want to learn how to make a Wikipedia account? Now that I've babbled your heads off? I don't know what our time is like, but I could do this all day, obviously. So Wikipedia, it's free to make an account, and I always advise making an account, because if you edit without an account, without logging in, Wikipedia will track your IP, which is basically your internet address and where your computer is located, kind of thing. And while that's no big deal to most people, it's also a big deal. So it's good to have your name there, because you can track your history of what you've contributed to Wikipedia, because your IPs can change. And it's also kind of good just for security. Once you make an account, only a very small percentage of Wikipedians, about 2 to 3%, have the authority given to them by the community to find your IP information. So for an emergency. It's weird, but sometimes things happen. Someone might say, I'm committing suicide, and someone will say, are you serious? We got to find out where this person is and help save them. Very rarely does this happen, but in the world of the internet, where people go online to find help, and Wikipedia has a huge community and support network, scary things can happen. So sometimes you got to find that information. But it's always really important to make an account, so you're not just a number. And if some crazy hacker wants to find you because you're adding stuff about men's rights and they're getting mad, it's better to have a username, an anonymous username. So we're going to make accounts. Now I already have an account, but I'm going to make one here today. So you go up here to this create an account. And if any of you are doing this now, and I'm moving too quickly, let me know. I'm also happy to help you afterwards or tomorrow at the edit-a-thon. So I'm just going to make up a username. They know I'm going to be doing it, so it's kind of a lame name. But you can use whatever you want. I'm doing my name and the number 13. And create your password. And you can't have multiple accounts unless you never use the, unless you screw up and you have to make a new account. But don't go edit for years and years with one account and then make another account to edit from, because you'll get blocked from both your accounts. It's just, we call it sock puppets. I don't know, weird, geeky stuff. And you can get in trouble. So keep one account if you can for the rest of your life. Yeah?
Do you recommend using your own name, or do you recommend using something anonymous?
It depends on your interests. Some people, I'm comfortable using my real name. I used to be anonymous, And then I changed it to my real name because I realized, one, it made other women feel safer knowing another woman was editing. Because a lot of women get uncomfortable making accounts online as women because you get treated a little bit differently.
So you can change your name.
And you can request name changes, yeah. Once you've been editing, or say you screw up your name, like if you make an account and I spelled my name wrong, and I already started editing before I noticed, I can request a name change, and people approve it and will change the name for you. But you can call it whatever. You can call yourself Cupcakes Are Awesome. I don't know if that's taken or not, but that's a good username. Or you can go by your real name, whatever you feel comfortable doing, and you don't have to identify your gender if you don't want to. So your email address, I'm going to use one that I haven't set up and then it's good to put your email address because while we can't help you find your password, if you ever lose your password, you are screwed. So you'll just have to make another account. But the reason we have your email address is because when people comment on your talk page, which I'll show you guys in a minute, it emails you and says, hey, you've got a comment on your talk page. Come back to Wikipedia and see what we're trying to tell you. And then I'm going to do my CAPTCHA, hyperreeks. Is anybody following me? Are you guys doing okay if you're trying to make an account? Okay. Remember account, blah, 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 no. Oh, look, I have a Wikipedia account. Oh, this is new. When I started doing it, it wasn't all pretty like this and a little welcome. Okay, let's see. You got to confirm your email address, so you'll get an email saying confirm that, do that. And then what it instantly does is provide you with a bunch of random suggestions. Since it knows nothing about me and what I'm into, it wants me to get started. And it suggests copy editing. Improved clarity is basically a nice word for copy editing. So if you're a grammar freak, that's the way to go. And there's 3 articles about silver mining in Colorado that needs help. Adding links. So articles that don't have articles, other Wikipedia articles connected to them. So the whole wormhole thing I talked about, those articles need help with that. And the last one here is, or improved clarity, I guess is bad grammar, copy edit would be copy editing. So there's some things to get you started, but if you're like me, and I don't want suggestions, I'm going to go back. Oh, there's the opening page. So if you go up here, you see up at the top where that little pop-up just came, you'll see my username in red. That's going to be my user page. This is where you can show off whatever you want. Picture of yourself, who you are, what you do. It's always kind of good if you do feel comfortable sharing who you are. You can say, hey, I'm Sarah. I am an art historian, and I like to edit Wikipedia about women's history. I'll show you an example of my own talk page. And it can get as complex as you want it to be. Mine, I've been doing this for a while, so you're going to see. Mine's a little more fancy. And you can sense I'm even busy in real life. But this is basically your hub for who you are in Wikipedia. When people want to know who's that person editing my article, they're going to go look at this. So I have a photograph of myself. I talk my biography, who I am, what I do. I have my degree, which is nice because people take you a little more seriously when you say you have a degree in something you write about. And what I do, and then I have a list of the articles that I've written recently. This is, yeah, I've written over 450 articles. Small, very small, and large, so I'm a geek. This is just a selection of some of the articles I've written. There's my Asian business ladies that I've been writing about. Wine, artists, museums. I tend to find alphabetical lists, so I write a lot of A's. Yeah.
And it's very easy to edit Wikipedia entries, but what's maybe more complex is introducing new equations, diagrams, and draw from pictures that are already published. And do you know any workshops that are more technical in that regard?
That's actually the other thing, that's what I do for a living, okay. Actually, and I won't be doing that today. Okay. Tomorrow I will be happy to show some people hands-on how to upload images and where to find public domain images, especially if we're writing about historical figure. If you'll be there tomorrow, I'm happy to do a small side thing about how to upload images or photographs you've been taken because we do have a whole media repository called Commons, where we can find free stuff. You can do whatever you want with, no copyright. And in my day job, I go around and preach how much I hate copyright and I want everything to be free. And I work with cultural institutions and libraries to open up their archives and collections under open and free licenses. So Wikipedia, for example, can be improved with images and artwork and stuff like that. And I'm happy to show you guys tomorrow if anybody wants to know how to upload an image, whether it's an image you've taken yourself or it's a historical photograph we steal from the internet. That's public domain. I'm happy to show you how to do that tomorrow if you want. Or I can send you some resources on where you can find some things online. But around here, I don't know yet where if there's going to be a workshop about that. So there's an example of a user page. But trust me, it doesn't have to be that fancy. So who here has made an account today? Great. So you want to make your first Wikipedia edits? Yes, we do. You're supposed to be more excited than that. Woo! You want to watch these people make their first Wikipedia edits? Woo! So write something about yourself, okay? Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm editing Wikipedia. And it's awesome. And I'm going to change the world with all of the awesome women's history I'm going to put on Wikipedia. So once you type it in there, very exciting, or whatever you wish to type, it can even just be hi. It doesn't have to be a biography or a big long sentence. On your user page, you then go down here, scroll down, and there's this thing, this button, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a button right here called Show Preview. This is a great button that shows you if you screwed up or not. So when you're writing articles, editing articles, writing on your user page, commenting on someone's top page, always do a preview of your work. It's just basically a proofreading thing, because it never fails that you edit something and it's totally misspelled, and then you have to go back and fix it, and blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to preview it, and right up here, this is only a preview. It says, hi, I'm Sarah. I'm editing Wikipedia, and it's awesome. I'm going to change the world, yeah, that's okay. That looks good. And then I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to click Save Page. Ta-da! I have a user page on Wikipedia. Does anybody else have a user page on Wikipedia now? Yay! Welcome to Wikipedia. So when people are going to come by and they're going to leave comments on your talk page, you might even get, after you make your first edit in the article space, we call it, where the Wikipedia articles all live, people will probably come by your talk page and welcome you. Sometimes they're lame robots that come by and go, hello, welcome to Wikipedia. Here's a bunch of policies you need to know about that I already told you about. Other people might be a little more friendly and might welcome you, like me, who says, welcome, we're glad you're here. If you need help with anything, you know where to find me. Hit up my talk page, or I'll watch your talk page, and if you need help, just yell. So the talk page is your social space. Okay, I'm like, now what are we going to do? Who wants to maybe take a look at an article or two? So I'm actually going to log out of this account, and I'm going to log into my BitReal account, because I'm going to show you a few things around the space that are really important to being a Wikipedian. Aside from your talk page. Log in. Oh, look, I have new messages. So when you have a new message on your talk page, you might get an email about it. And when you log in, you'll see this orange bar, which is basically your, hey, you got a message. You can then go to your talk page by clicking New Message. That's the drama llama, because it's the internet. You got drama queens, drama kings everywhere. So I don't like the drama llamas watching you. And if you're a shit stirrer and you come to my page and make me mad, I'm going to remove your comments. So I have a new message down here from someone about a blog post, blah, blah, blah. So I have to reply to him. But this is basically your social space where everyone's going to write you for help, come by and say hi. if you say where you're from, people might come by and invite you to events in Eugene or Portland. If you're from Oregon, people will invite you to wiki parties and stuff and meetups where they get beer and they talk about Wikipedia or whatever. Yeah, it's an important place for you. So I had talked about watch pages, remember? So a watch list, which is right up here, it's in the corner. These are all your big important things. You've got your user page, your top page, your preferences, which I can show you in a minute, your watch list, your contributions, which basically tracks your entire history. And I can go look at your history. So if I see you editing the article about feminism, I can go, what else has this person edited? Are they interested in other subjects like this? Maybe I'll invite them to work on something with me. And I can look at your entire contribution list and see your entire history and do all of your dirty laundry on Wikipedia. No, it's an awesome tool to get to know other editors. And then your logout. So if you're using a public computer, you want to log out. So first, let's take a look at watch lists. So in a second. This looks a lot scarier than it is. But at the top here, you'll see messages. So editors are invited to comment on a new proposal, start a new project about archiving citations on Wikipedia. So if you're interested in that, and I can tell you what it is later, you can go comment about it and be a part of the discussion to make this really important decision on if we're going to start archiving citations, which basically is archiving websites. So when you put the link to that website on Wikipedia, it'll be there forever. And it won't, if the website changes, the version on Wikipedia won't change. Yeah, great if you're into archival stuff. So I'm going to dismiss it. I have 2,000 pages on my watch list. I don't sit around and look at all 2,000 of them on a regular basis. But when a change happens on my top list, they do it by day, or on my watch list. So March 9th, because we do UTC time, so it's already midnight in Geneva, tomorrow in Geneva. You see that some of these are bold, only a couple of them are bold. Those are the ones that have been changed since I checked this page last. Usually if I wait 24 hours, all of this is bold. But I looked at it about 2 hours ago, so, and right now some things some pages, non-articles are
So,
yeah.
I need clarification. If
Sure.
there's a bold, someone has looked at something you've written,
No, they've edited the article.
they've edited it.
Mhm.
But editing means they leave yours there and then say what the change is. I mean, editing has a whole language in which you have to explain what it is you're doing and why you're doing it and why it's better than what's there.
Well, yeah, and I'll show you how that, yeah, because it is kind of complex. So when something is bold on your so many pages on your watch list, that means a recent edit has been made to a Wikipedia article that you watch or you have edited before. The moment you make an edit to an article, it goes on your watch list. And it can also be the talk page of the article. Like, I watch my own article, because when that dude comes back to make fun of me, I'm going to be there to watch it and tell someone so they can change it back. You know, you can watch whatever you want. Your own article, subjects you care for. So here's an example. Let's see. A lot of these are M's. The M's next to them, those little M's, mean they're minor. So they're just like periods, parentheses, maybe a spelling change. When you make a tiny little edit that's just a necessity, nothing major, just a grammatical change, you can make it, you can say it's a minor change. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So let's see here. Masculinism. Here's a good one. Trying to find a good example of something. Obviously, I haven't had a lot of good action lately. Let's see. And yeah, you can see sometimes it's pretty boring.
What's MV?
MV is a robot. So people make robots to go around and clean up articles or to remove vandalism. So MV means it was a robot that made the edit. I don't know what the M, I think it's a minor bot it stands for, but it's a robot. Like if you have a robot is like A robot is a, it's oh my danger wheel robots. It's a robot. A Wikipedian who's really tech savvy makes a program. I'm really bad. I don't do these things, so it's out of my realm.
It's an AI program.
It's I don't know. It could be a bunch of things.
Artificial intelligence.
Yeah, it's like they make an account that's a computer program to go around and monitor grammar. We have a robot that goes around and picks up every potty word. I could go through the list. Every potty word you can imagine, the B word, everything. And when it gets added to an article, that robot goes around like a machine and goes, I see the word doo-doo in an article. That means it's been vandalized. And it deletes it. Deletes the word doo-doo from the Justin Bieber article, and the article is no longer vandalized. So when you see MV on your article, either someone's vandalized it, but most of the time it's grammar changes. I have terrible grammar. So robots are always going through and fixing things, broken links. It's all good stuff. It's important things. It's the janitorial work of Wikipedia. Ignore I had some images deleted. Let's see. Here's an example. So I recently wrote an article about Leda St. Edmund. This woman was a go-go dancer on the TV show Hullabaloo. How many of your people know Hullabaloo? Ah, yeah. And I found out about her the other day watching television with my father. And I said, this woman is really interesting. She was like 18 and a go-go dancer on this TV show in the 60s that was only around for 2 years. And it was basically where all the awesome bands played, and they had girls in the background doing this. And she was interviewed on TV, so I wrote the article, and I see someone's made an edit. Someone named Male Rooster. But don't judge him based on his username. It could be a woman for all we know. I don't know. And I also see some edits have been changed. It looks like he fixed the punctuation. So I want to see what he did to my article. So if you can see, there's a thing called diff, and there's history. Diff is the difference between one edit and the edit that just happened. So the past and the present. History takes you to the big, long history page, where you can see every single edit that's ever been made to an article. So I want to see what he did. I'm assuming in good faith, as we say. It was for the benefit of the world, and it was a good... Yes, you can compare the two. I'll show you here. Now, some of these things... okay. I have magical superpowers on Wikipedia, so when you go to look at something like this, you won't see rollback. See the thing that says rollback at the top? You don't have that on your... You don't have those magic powers. So if someone vandalizes an article or screws it up really badly, I have the superhero powers to go and revert every one of their edits with one click. So if someone really screws something up for you, ask me, and I will take care of business for you. So I see here, this was the last edit made by Papa Rusa. They removed the category. She said she's going into being a boxing trainer. Then she was a go-go dancer, and then she was the highest paid stunt woman in Hollywood history. She was in all these amazing movies, and she's a total badass. And she said she was going into boxing, so I categorized her, because we have a whole like uber meta, very categorizing system. Category feminists in America, category mathematicians from the 18th century, category people from Eugene, Oregon. And you can see an entire list of people from Eugene, Oregon. So this person changed one of my categories because I had no evidence that she was actually a boxing referee. She says it in an interview. I'm going to be a boxing referee. I'm training. Well, I categorized her as being one, and he reverted it because technically it's original research and not true, in theory. When this guy just fixed an error, somewhere in there you can see a little blue hash in the middle of, next to the word actress. He added a period that I didn't add, which is one of my common grammar mistakes in that kind of sentence. And you can see the latest version of it. There's the article and her citations and all that good stuff. So this is really cool because you can double check the work of other editors. And most of the time, it's all in good faith. It's all improving the encyclopedia. It's very rare you get any problems. with the content that you write. So your watch list is really important. And let's see here.
Sarah, we have about 25 minutes left before
Okay.
we have to leave the room.
Oh my gosh.
So at
Okay.
some point you're going to want to field questions.
Yeah. I know this is really overwhelming. It's really hard. I didn't know if we'd be in a seminar type of thing or if we'd all be sitting with computers. So I kind of was like, I didn't know what to do. So I'm sort of, tomorrow's going to be really critical because then you can really get a hardcore hands-on experience. So if you will be able to be here tomorrow for the edit-a-thon, it'll be pretty fun. And then we can go celebrate our awesome revolution afterwards. But it's going to be really great to have hands-on because I can run around and show you all how to do a lot of these things. Yeah?
I have a question relating to what someone else is speaking.
Where are we tomorrow for the edit-a-thon?
We're at 141 Allen Hall.
And we'll review it also at the end of this.
Starts at 1 o'clock.
So I'm going to just give you a couple more things here, all right? Because a lot of this is, you can't break Wikipedia. As I showed you, if you screw something up, someone's just going to come and fix it for you. Sometimes they might get a little snarky on the top, your top page and say,